And we are back. Yes, after a month.
Yeah, we did actually see a movie in between this, but we never did a review for it, unfortunately.
Yeah. And he didn't bring his camera.
I didn't bring my camera. Plus, we saw it with my dad, and he wasn't gonna be a part of this.
It was Hell or High Water. It was a good movie.
Fantastic movie.
I thought it was just really good.
Mm-hmm.
And perfect way to cap off his summer, but my summer ended with Don't Breathe. Now we're into the good portion of movie season. The very fucking end.
Hopefully.
Yeah. There should be more good stuff. I gotta do a little bit more research on like big stuff coming out later, but seeing the trailer for this during the summer, this could have been budgeted as like a big summer action survival flick.
Disaster movie?
Yeah, pretty much a disaster movie, but not the disaster movie.
No, just just like a lot of the Roland Emmerich films. Although this one,
No. This is completely different. Actually, that might be something I might get into later.
Okay.
But yeah, we just saw Deepwater Horizon, the movie that I did not know was about BP until we saw this. Yeah, I was telling him right after I'm like, I did not know this was about the BP spill. He's like, what did you say right after?
I said I thought the trailers made that pretty clear about what it was. I mean, I'm not in. Even though this event happened when we were in high school, and one of our teachers went on and on about this.
The hippie history teacher. That's who we had. But yeah, he talked about this, and mostly just because the entire media couldn't stop talking about it. But it is a big disaster, and
oh yeah.
And it does deserve to be talked about, but the media sort of, well, and when I say the media, I mean South Park. Everybody tried to get their hands on this incident and milk it for all of its public worth, but luckily, this does show a serious side.
Yeah, I mean, of all, like, the disaster movies that have come out, at least ones that are based on true events, this one I felt tried to make things seem more real, seem a little bit more human, seem almost like the camera, like not necessarily found footage, but almost seem like someone had a camera on the day that this happened, sort of.
Yeah. So
there were also times that they broke that immersion unintentionally, and some things are either poorly directed or just bad ideas. We'll talk about it later. But so the basic plot of Deepwater Horizon is it was the worst oil accident in history. What happened was this particular oil rig, the Deepwater Horizon, was under such poor maintenance, and it was just I don't know, did they say it was old?
It was under poor maintenance, and there were so many repairs needed to it that it was quite possibly condemned. They had a nickname for it, and it's called the Well from Hell, and also there is speculation that BP did not fund the repairs and necessary fixings for this rig because it would have taken out of their budget, which they were already overdue on.
Yeah.
They were 43 days behind strict schedule for gallon production, and leading to BP losing more and more money.
Yeah, I think they said
being put into this rig.
They say $25 million in the hole.
It's somewhere around there. Millions of dollars in the hole. And the reason they're not doing it is because it might cost them extra money to do safety tests. And that's where it comes into play. Where the rig is not mounted, it's only mounted by the pipe that is being put into the ground.
Yeah.
It does not have all four legs mounted into the ocean floor that it's on.
Yeah.
In the Gulf.
I don't know much about oil rigs, but isn't that how most oil rigs are designed? Like as boats, not as like four pillars all the way down.
Again, we are not oil rig experts. We're
Yeah.
from the middle of Minnesota.
The most I know about oil rigs is from Metal Gear Solid Phantom Pain, where you get to like walk around one.
And the most I might know about oil rigs is from, or most people's understanding of oil rigs is Armageddon.
Yeah, that too. You know, it did feel a lot like Armageddon in this movie.
It's
but,
Armageddon played serious.
Yeah, there's not. You don't get Bruce Willis with a shotgun running
Chasing
around.
around Ben Affleck.
Yeah, having the goal of saying you could have killed a lot of people today.
No, just you. But oh god, yeah. I actually feel bad for making that joke now because this is
not bad like Armageddon is at all.
Well, because they're two completely different movies. But anyway,
I understand that, but I mean, like, it doesn't have anywhere near the same like bad direction or bad writing. You know, for the most part, this movie is very well made, well directed and stuff. The problems that I have with it, mostly that interrupts the human element to it, is when you have white guys writing black man's jive into some of these people's dialogue, which just really sound cringy and awkward.
that didn't bother me that much.
You have these old goats walking out on the oil rig going, "Hey man, how you doing today? Not very good. Shit."
Actually, they are in the South though. They are off of Louisiana, so it is more acceptable the farther south you go.
What 40-year-old man is gonna talk like that? I mean,
time's been changing, yo.
All right, well, the other thing that him and I both hate about this movie is John Malkovich. He plays the corporate asshole, essentially.
One of three corporate assholes.
Yeah, the main corporate asshole, I guess.
Yep, and they pulled out of testing the cement that's holding in the pipe, which we gradually see throughout the beginning is continually breaking and letting up oxygen,
which is all Mark Wahlberg's fault. He just had to drop a coin in the fucking ocean.
Yeah, he drops a coin. He flips a coin like he's flipping it into a fountain, and we both wanted to see the quarter just fall to the ground and then make the crack and then make the crack bigger.
I really thought they were going with, because we follow this quarter for a long time as it's making its way to the ocean floor.
We never see it hit though.
No, we
disappointment.
Never. Yeah, it's disappointing. But that would have been hilarious if it just hit and it just created a little hairline fracture, and it's like it's all his fault.
Ooh, it's Polar Express all over again. But yeah, the support for the pipe is breaking. Their backup solution, which is Mark Wahlberg's job, he creates the safety blocks for any excessive mud pressure, and the mud is the whole oil solution before it's filtered, I think.
Yeah. Didn't they say something about how they get a lot of mud first before they get to the oil?
Yep. So it's basically just
the top layer, I guess.
Yes, pretty much. But yeah, obviously shit hits the fan, and
there's a lot of like progressive build up to it. It doesn't just all happen at once.
It takes a long time to build up.
Yeah,
though.
and you feel it because they got like the meters and everything, and the earn pressure alert and everything going on, and it's like, oh god, it's gonna happen. It just keeps going. And
luckily, one good thing about that, it plays with your expectations a little bit.
Yeah, it does. It's despite knowing exactly what's going to happen, it does actually when it shows up, it does actually get tense, which is nice.
Yeah, and the disaster. Well, as it goes on. Kurt Russell is also like the head safety inspector. He has his doubts, but goes through with like pressure checks anyway. And John Malkovich just keeps on pressing on. We will do more pressure tests. We will test until we can drill.
Yeah. John,
it sounds like
he sounds so weird in this movie.
No, correct me if I'm wrong. it sounds like he's directly reading from his script.
Yes, it does.
Oh, his acting is so stale in this, which is weird because John Malkovich is one of the biggest, well, I think one of the biggest over-actors in Hollywood.
Yeah. He's not. I guess this is what happens when they say you need. We're going for a more serious tone here. You need to tone it back a little bit.
And then he just comes across as boring.
Yeah, boring and really annoying. He's
and he doesn't even play that much part aside from just being the shouty asshole.
Yeah.
Even during the survival part, he's just put on a lifeboat right away.
Yeah.
Even though he was in the first wave of the pipe bursting.
Yeah. And everyone's of course giving him dirty looks like this is your fault.
You're the monster in this.
Yeah. That's the one part of this. Despite this movie having more of a human element to it than most disaster movies, that's the one part that feels so Hollywood and romanticized. Or it's the corporate.
But
asshole.
the reason that they're doing it is just to like easily map out who you're supposed to hate and who you're supposed to like.
Yeah, it has a very anti-corporate agenda.
And which is everybody else's. Oh, that was something that I also hated too. Every single rig worker's attitude towards the BP, they could not be more obvious. When when Wahlberg is talking with a bunch of the safety technicians, they're like, "Oh, BP, do blah 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 blah." Oh, they just trying to switch like save up on the money. Money, 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 money. They just keep saying that.
Yep.
I'm like, wow. I wonder what you're trying to get at.
Yeah.
There's that hint. There's just that hint of obviousness that can actually get a little bit grating.
Yeah. A little too self-aware about it.
And don't get us wrong. BP absolutely deserved this. Deserved all the negative shit they got.
To an extent, yes, but I don't think it's necessarily fair to pin it all like it's just one guy. I mean, BP's a large corporation.
Yes, absolutely. And
to make it sound like this guy could either have made it or break the make the whole thing or break the whole thing, to me I just kind of think is ridiculous. That's the kind of thing that only exists in Hollywood. Of like the one bad guy. I don't know. There was one scene with him and Mark Wahlberg that they almost just hinted so close to trying to humanize him a little bit more, and then immediately whips you in the face with
he's still an asshole.
He's a corporate asshole. Where he comes in and he's like, I thought you had more you wanted to say. It's like, I'll give you a chance to say it. And so they talk it out. He just gives him this bullshit PR spin where it's like, there's a lot of moving parts. There's millions of moving parts to this whole thing. And even though there's little things like you, they're all intertwined and everything. And my job is just to make sure that everything's working as functional as it can be. And
are you going to keep all these moving parts intertwined? It's pretty much just Malkovich trying to come off as powerful and asserting his authority over Wahlberg, who has been giving him dirty looks the entire time.
Yeah.
And even says when Malkovich comes in, "You lost, sir?"
Yeah.
A little bit of a smart ass.
Yep. I like when he walks out and he's just like, piece of shit. That's exactly what everyone's thinking.
And also it was a little bit obvious with its foreshadowing because
this movie loves foreshadowing.
But then again, there's some of it's good, some of it's meh.
The one with the one you see in the trailers with his daughter and her showing him the school project she's gonna show everyone about what he does, and with the Coke can and everything that it bursts and it supposed to foreshadow
geyser of soda. Yep. What if that wasn't soda?
Mm-hmm. That one I can give it. Okay, that's okay. And I also like it that it teaches people like us, and I suppose a lot of people, of how oil rigs work.
And it's clever, his character description pretty much.
Yeah. So that's all right. It gets to the point of ridiculous where it's like one of the guys just minutes before the whole thing bursts, the guy's like, I gotta go take a leak. Like, I just like, really? Really?
Hey, that honestly could have been a coincidence. I don't know if they were intentionally
Or there's this other thing where Kurt Russell's character, he's talking to one of the corporate guys, and he's like, do you mind getting rid of that tie? And he's like, I do mind. He's like, well, it's just the thing is the color. What's wrong with it? It's magenta. What's wrong with that? See, on an oil rig, magenta is the worst kind of color you could possibly have. Then just superstitious and all. Can you get rid of it? And it just cuts away, it cuts back. He's taking it off.
Meh. You're an asshole for making me take my tie off.
But then again, I think that is kind of ridiculous.
It is a little bit. But then again, you get some good stuff, you get some bad stuff.
Okay.
Well, we have given out a little bit about the bad stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Good. What's good about it is it does go for a serious tone, but it doesn't try and put it into overdrive where it almost seems overly sentimental.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a basic, these are your people, this is the situation they're gonna go through, watch them try their hardest to persevere and survive.
Yeah. It doesn't I gotta give credit to the soundtrack too, where it doesn't go too overboard. Like, you don't have the
blah, 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 like the big score or whatever.
Yeah, or even like when people are like clearly giving like their goodbyes, and it's not playing the
the fucking singer.
Yeah. No, there isn't any of that. That much is good.
No, there are no hokey like slow-mo death scenes. If anything, there's one like hinted death scene where there's a guy who's trying to operate a crane that will swerve over and not crush everyone trying to get on the lifeboats.
I think
all of a sudden gets knocked off and lands face flat.
Everyone shouted at him to like get out of there and everything, and he's just kind of sitting there. I don't know if he's like in shock or something, but he's just sitting there.
That's what I thought he was. I thought he was in shock, just like frozen with fear.
Yeah, and then just explosion from the side. He goes flying out, and you hear tung ting
tong tong
as his way down. Ugh.
Don't show how they're falling though, because at some points it can. It's like watching the people fall in Titanic. It's human plinko. So because sometimes the way the bodies hit objects, it can look a little funny, but even though we know that it's tragic, I'm sounding really bad right now, aren't I?
Yeah.
Ugh. But
I mean the sound of a body hitting metal like that always makes me cringe.
yes, that's auditory though. Visually, like, it's like watching a rag doll bounce off of stuff.
Well, I guess it's difficult too because the body was clearly CGI in that one instance.
but that just provides for more ping pong.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
So yeah, it was a little tricky for me to. Obviously, death serious, so.
Yeah.
But still, slightly a little on the darkly funny side about boing boing. But the acting was mostly.
I mean, besides John Malkovich, everyone pretty much does a fine job.
They do their part. They do what they're supposed to do. No little, no more. Just what they need to do.
Yeah.
Wahlberg is stern, but he can actually lay out how to escape, what they need to do. He actually saves one of the other main characters in the end by actually tricking her, thank God.
Yeah.
But he also pulled out a logical decision by still looking out, not necessarily looking out for himself, but doing the logical thing and doing the logical decision in a situation.
Yeah.
Kurt Russell, yeah, he played his part. He was just supposed to be the stern old guy who knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Although he was blind for most of it, so that did add an element of suspense. Like, how is he going to move around? How are people going to help him around, whatever?
Yeah. Legitimate badass. He gets a knife through his foot and just kind of keeps going.
Yeah, and he was also in the shower when the rig exploded, so he's naked, covered in broken glass.
Yeah. Oof.
Just slips on a suit and like there. And yeah, although some of the direction during the supposed action scenes with the explosions, the quick cuts, some of it was a little messy, and
A lot. There was a time when it did turn into some shaky cam nonsense, and that was annoying.
and yeah, some of it you're not able to see, but those are more or less just like very quick 5-second segments. The real visuals that you need to like see to appreciate the effects for are like the big landscape shots of the burning rig, the fire everywhere. It actually does look like this thing is burning to the ground.
Yeah, you could start to sweat in your seat. It feels hot.
Oh yeah, and they take every single logistical point that could be made during this explosion. The crude oil is pumped up and it's spreading everywhere. It's flammable, but it's getting into everything, stopping everything. Light the fire. Everything turns on fire, seeps through the ventilation via gas, like airborne gas, and then everything goes.
Mm-hmm.
What else is there? Oh, you were talking about Roland Emmerich disaster movies.
Yeah.
This is not. I really think that this is an homage to old disaster movies. Have you what old disaster movies would you know of?
Towering Inferno.
That's exactly what I thought before this. It's the Towering Inferno on an oil rig.
Or Poseidon.
No, Poseidon Adventure, not the new one, the old one. But
that's what I meant.
I'm just making that clarification because even though Kurt Russell was in the Poseidon remake. Okay. But yeah, this I think pays a lot of homage to those old films because it does give a lot of setting and a lot of groundwork as opposed to the Roland Emmerich disaster movies like The Day After Tomorrow, where I assume they just throw in the explanation and let everything play out from there. But yeah, these take the intimate setting and not like the giant scale and just examine what can happen in this in this confined environment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's more of a human element. Sorry,
exactly.
I didn't interrupt.
Absolutely, but that does bring more. But when the human element is added, as opposed to like big sci-fi shit, and I know this was based on real events, but having the reality does create human element. Even though this scenario could be played out in a fictionalized story,
mm-hmm.
and even though it does offer interconnectedness, it does still offer, I guess, the big thrills of who's gonna make it out, many of the main characters leaving alive. Obviously, it's happy Dory, happy go lucky, whatever. But honestly, I would have. The main character that dies right away, and we've actually gotten to know, is one of the safety technicians with him and a bunch of other people.
Who looks strikingly like Kevin James.
It's Ethan Suplee.
Okay.
He's the brother in My Name is Earl.
Okay.
He's also... Wait, have you seen Remember the Titans?
Yes.
He's Louis Lastic.
Oh. Okay.
Except way less heavy.
That's what I was just thinking the whole time. Is like, man, that guy looks like Kevin James. And I was also thinking, John Malkovich looks a lot like Mike from Breaking Bad in this too.
Although Mike would have cut this guy's throat as soon as he saw him. Like,
oh God, yeah.
And so yeah,
dude, Mike would have jumped in the water and just cut the pipe himself. Nothing can stop Mike.
I'm taking matters into my own hands, bitches. Yeah. So I can't think of anything else to say.
Yeah, it's a pretty good movie for what it is. If you're interested in like retelling of real life disaster events, this one does a pretty good job.
Yep.
If you want to see Mark Wahlberg in yet another like death defying situation like similar to Lone Survivor, you'll probably like this as well.
I didn't see Lone Survivor actually.
I did. It was all right. It's very similar to this movie actually.
Nothing too special, but still passable.
Yeah, it works.
Okay. Yeah, I still thought this was. Still thought this was decently good. I didn't think it was like great at all. Again, because of handfuls of too much obviousness.
Yeah. Too much Hollywood.
Yep. And John Malkovich, no.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the direction is a little. Some of the cinematography and direction is a little messy, but other parts of it are great. And the rest of the acting is actually standard.
Yeah.
But I would recommend do see it in the theaters because it is big and it does offer for a big scale.
We got lucky. We got the big screen tonight
At the shit theater we go to.
We usually don't ever get it.
Which is weird because we usually see opening weekend stuff.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we're gonna. I don't know what's coming out next weekend because, yeah, mostly we focus on summer stuff, but hopefully it'll be better stuff.
Maybe we'll go see Storks.
We might see Storks. Keyword might.
Maybe I don't know.
Because neither of us. We might need to get our bad movie in though.
Yeah,
we haven't had a solid bad movie since what? Mike and Dave.
Yeah, I think Mike and Dave. Was
Nope. Ghostbusters was right after it.
Oh,
you hated it. I thought it was just okay.
Yeah,
but
more thinking about this, I'm gonna say this right now. When we do our top 5 best movies of the year and top 5 worst movies of the year, I'm just gonna say this right now. Ghostbusters is not going to be on it.
Is that right?
Yes. I can already think of 5 movies that are far worse than Ghostbusters.
And I think I know what one of them is. Don't you dare try and say what it is.
I won't.
Good.
You guys will have to look forward to that.
All right. So, yeah. If you guys saw anything else besides this, well, if any of you saw Masterminds, what was that like? Because that or Storks would have been the only other thing to possibly see. And yeah, just like to know what we're missing out on.
Mm-hmm.
So, what time is it?
It is 5:02.
5 to what? Oh.
10.
Jeez, it's not even that late. All right.
Also, I guess one other thing. Before you see this movie, if it's still out in your area, and I imagine it's probably a little hard to find now, but if you can, go see Hell or High Water.
He's gonna plug that movie for the rest of the year.
Well, not next time we do a review, but at this point, if it's still reasonably out somewhere, go see it. It's amazing.
It's went from a review of Deepwater Horizon to you praising Hell or High Water.
But if you already have seen it and you're looking for a decent movie, yeah, you can check this out. It's pretty good.
Yeah. All right. We gotta go. Later.
Yep. Good night.